Hey, Sarah Picaro. I thought this was an important topic to cover. So today is going to be a short video about arguing with the narcissist. So somebody recently commented, let me find it really quick, and said negative attention. When you show negative attention to or with a narcissist and you argue with them, the comment was the negative attention, otherwise known as the arguing, the engaging with the narcissist in a negative way, the reactive abuse. There's so many different, words out there to describe it. But the negative attention, the arguing, shows that you care about the narcissist. And it went on to say that someone who can't be bothered to argue properly doesn't hold the narcissist in a very high regard, right? So the arguing is a way for the narcissist to gauge how you feel about them and how much control they really have over you. So yes, we know that to the narcissist, their world exists only in the realm of how much power and how much control they have over others. And other people to them are simply objects that they use. So let's address this. The negative attention, the arguing shows how much you care about the narc or the narcissist. Not necessarily. So the arguing doesn't necessarily show or mean that you care about the narcissist. It means that you're being triggered. If you are reacting, you're arguing. Engaging in an argument is a form of reaction. So when you're arguing and when you're engaging with a narcissist, it means that you're being triggered. What that means is that there's an inner hurt, an inner pain, an inner wound. And it's generally around fear. It's generally around rejection, abandonment, betrayal. But the origin of that wound is almost always located in a different place, not within the realm or context of that narcissistic relationship. The origin of it, where that wound initially came into play. It almost always had nothing to do with the narcissist. It was already there when you got into it. And this is under the context of being in a narcissistic relationship when you're an adult. Many people who find that they're in narcissistic relationships as adult can trace that origin back to their upbringing, to their childhood, to their past experiences with their caregivers, and see the same patterns, the same type of traits. But when you are giving negative attention or arguing with a narcissist, it does not necessarily show how much you care. It means you're being triggered. There's that inner wound, fear, rejection, abandonment, betrayal. That's being triggered. It's like a wound that's there. It was already there. It was already open. And that narcissist that you're arguing with or engaging with knows about that wound and is pouring salt or like rubbing alcohol in that wound. And that burns, that hurts. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're arguing, you care about the narcissist. It means that you care about projecting that inner wound that was already there because it hurts, but it's an emotional wound. So that's why you're arguing. It puts you in a state of fight, right? The trauma response, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So you want to fight back emotionally, you want to fight back verbally to protect that pain, that inner pain that you're feeling. So it's like they're opening that wound, pouring salt or rubbing alcohol in it, but they're not necessarily the ones who made that wound. It was there. The origin of that wound went back a long, long time, and it's just built up, and just imagine it's gotten more infected, bigger, and consumed more, right? It's like if you have a cut and you don't take care of it properly, you don't allow it to heal immediately, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more infected. And then anytime something even gets close to it, the thought of something touches it, you're going to pull that finger away because there's pain there. It's like the same thing, but this is emotional pain. And so when someone's coming to that, close to that, of course, you're going to argue and pull away and say, don't touch that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you care about that person. who's trying and getting to that inner wound. So arguing back is a form of control for the narcissist, and they love that. They thrive in the midst of chaos, but you arguing back does not necessarily mean that you care about the narcissist. What's being identified and presented is that you have an inner unhealed wound and you care about protecting that. So when you do the inner work to heal that wound and you give that wound what it needs to heal, then it begins to heal. It's like that wound begins to close up, and eventually a cut or a wound, once healed, is then a scar. So if the narcissist comes in at that point, knowing where that trigger, that wound was, and tries to do what they've always done to get you to argue and react, it's as if that wound has healed and now there's just a scar there. So if you pour salt or rubbing alcohol on a scar, it's not going to have the same impact as if it's not yet healed and you're pouring salt or rubbing alcohol on it. If you're pouring salt or rubbing alcohol on a scar, it's going to do nothing. It's going to roll off. It's not going to impact or affect you. So therefore, you're going to just be indifferent to it. So that negative attention, the arguing, doesn't show that you necessarily care about the narcissist and hold them in high regard. It means that there's an inner unhealed wound that you care about, that you're doing your best to try and protect and defend so that the pain and the hurt from that doesn't increase, expand, and grow. So I think that's a really, really good comment. And it's a misconception that's out there, especially in this world of dealing and engaging with narcissists, because that's what they thrive on. They thrive on triggering and hurting people and getting to their inner unhealed wounds, but they're actually, the origin of them is very rarely anything to do with that narcissist. It goes all the way back, right? And that's why there's such a strong correlation and connection between inner unhealed wounds, childhood trauma, past traumas that lead one to being in a relationship with a narcissist, because narcissist almost smells it. It's almost like they smell that blood from that wound and they go, there we go, right? Because it leaves you open, weak, vulnerable, unhealed. And that's like, they're like prey. And it's like a predator, and they just connect to that, attach onto that, and of course begin to get into that pain after the idolization phase, the devalue discard phase. So I hope that answers your question, and that is why it's so imperative and so important to disconnect from the source of the pain, the narcissist, right? Get out physically if it's a relationship that you're in, and then give that wound, those inner core wounds. The thing is, they're invisible. Right? So where do I begin? Where do I start? I don't know, right? And that's where they're invisible wounds. So I love the phrase, you can't slap a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And that's what it's like if you're trying to just cover it up or mask it. It takes opening that up, getting out that bullet, so to speak, and allowing it the space and time to heal. The method, the modalities that I use are hypnosis or rapid transformational therapy, and using the power of your inner mind, your subconscious thoughts, beliefs that connect to the origin of that so that you can heal from within, right? So you can get to that place where that cut, that wound is healed. Now a scar, anyone tries to come in and get in there, kind of just get indifferent to it because it doesn't trigger, it doesn't burn, it doesn't hurt the same. So if that's what you're looking for and you've tried other modalities and maybe had limited success or no success at all, but you still have those inner unhealed wounds and are still willing and ready to do the inner work, because it does take that, there's no magic pill that's going to make you healed, then I would love to connect and love to talk to you more about how I work with clients to get the phenomenal and fast results that we get by working together through those modalities. So thank you guys. I just wanted to hop on here really quick and answer that question. You can always find more information in the link below this video to connect.